the forgotten signal, the galaxy was quiet that night, stars burning like cold fire in the endless dark. Then, without warning, a signal echoed through the void, a whisper carried on ancient frequencies long forgotten. The Predator fleet received it first. They were hunters by nature, fierce, proud, and unmatched in battle. To them, a distress signal meant one thing: prey. Their scanners locked onto the source, a small, dying world on the edge of a forgotten system. They expected scavengers or rebels, something easy to destroy. Admiral Vorsk, the leader of the Predator fleet, leaned forward in his command chair, his reptilian eyes narrowing. "We answer," he growled, his voice cold and cruel. "Prepare the fleet." Within minutes, dozens of ships changed course, massive engines roaring as they headed toward the origin of the call. The signal repeated in broken human language. "This is Colony, Eden Prime. We need help." Static followed, no response, no coordinates beyond a faint beacon. The fleet assumed this was another desperate world soon to be erased. Yet curiosity burned among the Predators. They had never heard of a human colony out here. As their ships approached, something felt strange. Sensors picked up energy readings that did not match any known human technology. The planet below was scarred with old battlefields and silent cities, but signs of life pulsed faintly beneath the surface. Admiral Vorsk's second-in-command hissed, "Maybe scavengers," but the Admiral shook his head. "No scavenger hides from scanners this well." The fleet entered orbit, weapons charged, shields active. It was supposed to be routine. Scan, demand surrender, erase resistance, but before they could send a message, the signal changed. Now it was not a distress call, it was a warning. "This colony stands," the voice said clearly. The language human, but the tone inhumanly calm. "We remember." Then everything went dark. The Predator ship's sensors flickered. Communications cut, engines faltered for a few seconds. But in battle, seconds meant everything. Admiral Vorsk snarled, demanding status reports. His engineers shouted in confusion. "Something is jamming us." The signal. "It's inside our systems." The Admiral slammed his clawed hand against the console. Impossible, humans cannot do this. Yet deep in his mind, an unease began to grow. Below, on the surface, the humans of Eden Prime stood ready. They had hidden for centuries. Cut off from the rest of the species, surviving through ingenuity and adaptation, the colony had been declared lost long ago. But in truth, it had evolved, far beyond what anyone imagined. Rika, commander of the colony's defense, watched the sky as the massive alien ships descended. Her face calm, her eyes glowing faintly from the light of the command screens. "They finally found us," she said softly. "Then let them see what we've become." The underground control center buzzed with quiet precision. Engineers manned old consoles repaired countless times. Drones activated, weapons charged, yet no one panicked. They had prepared for this moment their entire lives. "Admiral," one of Vorsk's officers called out. Surface structures detected. Faint energy readings. The Predator fleet scans revealed nothing useful. Everything on the planet seemed dead. But suddenly hundreds of heat signatures appeared and vanished again. Confusing every sensor, Rika gave the order. "Send the greeting." Above, the Predator fleet's leading battleship detected a spike of energy from the planet. Too late to react, a pulse wave burst from the surface. Invisible yet powerful, it hit every ship simultaneously, disabling weapon systems, freezing targeting computers, and scrambling communications. Alarms screamed across the Predator ships. Chaos erupted. The Admiral roared, "Find them! Destroy them!" But no weapon fired. No system responded. The humans had taken control of their targeting systems through the very signal that lured them in. For the first time in centuries, the Predator fleet felt fear. From orbit, the planet looked harmless. But deep below the surface, humanity stirred, their hidden city alive with energy, corridors lit with blue light, massive engines awakening. Rika stood before a large transparent window, watching ancient machines rise from the underground vaults, their surfaces engraved with both human and alien symbols. Her voice was calm, almost gentle. "They think we are prey. They think we forgot how to fight. But we never stopped learning." Back on the Predator flagship, systems flickered again. A human face appeared briefly on every screen. Rika's face, her eyes cold but intelligent. "You came to answer a distress call," she said. "You should have stayed away." The transmission ended. Silence filled the bridge. Even the Admiral could not speak. Every hunter in the room understood. The prey had set the trap. As the Predator fleet tried to regroup, their sensors detected something massive rising from beneath the surface. Energy levels spiking beyond prediction. And then, with a burst of light, a human warship, sleek, dark, and massive, emerged from the dust of the dead planet. The Admiral whispered in disbelief, "Impossible! Humans cannot build this." Yet his fear betrayed him because deep down he knew what every predator now realized. Humanity was not extinct, not weak, and not afraid. They were waiting, and now they were ready to fight. The colony that shouldn't exist, the predator fleet, hovered in orbit, stunned and silent. The ancient human signal still echoed through their systems like a ghost. The warship that rose from the surface now floated above the colony, dark metal shining with blue light, shaped like nothing the galaxy had ever seen. Admiral Vorsk stared at the strange vessel, trying to understand how humans, primitive, emotional, chaotic, had built something so terrifying. His commanders spoke in low tones, afraid to say what they all feared. This wasn't just a surviving colony. This was something else, something evolved down below. In the shadow of the mountain, the lost colony of Eden Prime came alive. Its surface appeared barren, but beneath the soil stretched a massive network of tunnels, reactors and bunkers carved through stone and silence. It was a city that should not exist. For over 100 years, the humans of Eden Prime had vanished from every known map. Their last communication had been a call for help, and then nothing. The galaxy had assumed them dead, swallowed by war or starvation. But instead of dying, they had adapted. Rika, the colony's commander, walked through the dimly lit command center, her footsteps quiet on the metal floor. Around her, operators monitored screens filled with alien code and sensor data. Children of survivors born in darkness, raised in silence, trained to think, not panic. "We were forgotten," Rika said softly, "and so we learned in secret." She passed a chamber filled with weapons, some human, some reverse-engineered from wrecked alien ships that had crashed on the outer rim. Everything here was repurposed, nothing wasted. Eden Prime had no support from Earth. No supplies, no guidance, only survival. Above, the Predator fleet sent down scout drones to survey the surface. They expected resistance, maybe old missile launchers or electromagnetic shields. But what they found was worse, emptiness. No heat signatures, no buildings, no obvious infrastructure, just cracked ground and quiet winds. Then the first drone vanished, then the second, then the third. Vorsk slammed his claws on the console. "Send troops," he growled, "if they want to play games. We'll answer in blood." Shuttles launched, slicing through the thin atmosphere toward the ruins of what looked like a dead city. Predator soldiers, tall, armored, bred for war, moved with precision, their weapons humming with energy. They found dust, rubble, and silence until the silence moved one by one. The soldiers reported shadows slipping past their scanners, motion without heat, footsteps with no sound. Targeting systems failed to lock, and then the ground exploded beneath them, swallowing one squad whole. From hidden shafts and vertical tunnels, human soldiers rose, silent and fast, wearing armor made from scavenged parts, carrying weapons designed for close quarters. They didn't scream, they didn't taunt. They struck with lethal precision and vanished again in orbit. Predator officers listened to the reports coming in, scrambled voices, warnings, static, and then silence. Rika watched it unfold from her command center, her face lit by flickering screens. "They thought we would run," she said calmly. "But this is our home." And they walked into it uninvited, deep in the colony. Engineers monitored the Predator fleet's movements, feeding false data into their sensors, creating fake targets, redirecting scans, disrupting their internal communications with virus-coded pulses hidden in the old distress signal. Meanwhile, in the old archives, a historian named Juno scrolled through Earth's forgotten files, gathering data about the Predator species, their history, psychology, and battle tactics. "To fight the enemy," she whispered, "we must know what they fear." What the galaxy had never understood was that humanity didn't just fight with weapons. They fought with memory, with adaptation, with a refusal to be erased. Predator troops retreated, confused and bleeding. They had faced enemies before, strong, fast, well-trained, but this was something worse. The humans of Eden Prime didn't fight like soldiers. They fought like shadows, like ghosts who had learned to make war in silence. Admiral Vorsk watched the retreating dropships, rage burning behind his eyes. "This colony should not exist," he muttered. "Humans do not build this kind of resistance." He was right. These weren't ordinary humans, these were the forgotten ones. Abandoned by the galaxy, abandoned by Earth, forced to survive in darkness with no help, No contact, no mercy. And somehow they had become stronger. The Admiral clenched his fists. They have one ship, he said. We have a fleet, but even he couldn't shake the feeling in his chest. The sinking, gnawing dread that maybe, just maybe, that one ship was enough. As the human warship hovered over the dead city, lights blinking in sequence, systems powering up, its name slowly came into view on the side, not in English, but in a new code, part human, part alien. Rika looked at the screen and smiled. Let the galaxy know, she said. Eden Prime stands. The second wave was coming and the colony was ready. The first strike. The Predator fleet circled above Eden Prime like vultures over a battlefield, their warships larger than cities, their weapons humming with anticipation. But something had changed since they arrived. Fear had replaced confidence. Confusion had replaced command. Admiral Vorsk stood in the center of the command deck. Surrounded by flickering screens and broken reports, his soldiers had returned wounded. Shaken, silent, these humans, he thought, are not prey. They are not running. They are not afraid. Prepare the full assault, he growled. Wipe the surface clean. But below, in the heart of the dead world, humanity had already moved. Commander Rika stood before a circular hollow map. Her officers gathered quietly. No one shouted. No one panicked. Every movement was measured, precise. We won't fight them head on, she said, her voice like steel. We'll cut their throat in the dark. The colony's engineers activated long-buried tech, signal cloakers, adaptive camo fields, and pulse disruptors. These weren't weapons built in factories. They were created in scrap tunnels, made from the bones of old Earth tech and stolen alien cores. Rika turned to her second, a quiet strategist named Marek. Deploy Phase 1, she ordered in orbit. The Predator ships detected small launches. 10, maybe 15, small crafts breaking from the planet's atmosphere. Too small to be a threat, they assumed. Too slow to chase. They were wrong. These weren't attack ships. They were mirrors. Plates of reflective metal embedded with signal disruptors and blind spot generators. As they drifted into position, they bent light, twisted readings, and blinded the Predator fleet's targeting systems, sir. We've lost visual on half the surface, one alien officer reported. How? Vorsk demanded, unknown. Sensors show false terrain, duplicate signals. Then drop troops blind, he shouted. We already did, came the quiet reply. On the ground, Predator squads moved through silence. Buildings shifted and disappeared like ghosts. Their HUDs flickered, names and maps vanished. They were alone. Then the attacks began. Human teams emerged from shadows. 2, 3, sometimes only one, cloaked in refracted light, moving between cover like wind through trees. Each attack was quick, brutal, and silent. Blades into joints, darts into necks. EMP pulses disabling weapons. One Predator soldier fired randomly, screaming, only to collapse seconds later from a precision stun strike to the spine. This was not a battle, it was a hunt, and humans were the hunters now. In orbit, confusion turned to chaos. Predator ships attempted to descend lower into atmosphere. But new energy readings spiked. Human railguns, built into mountain ridges, activated from camouflage. Their first volley struck the belly of a dreadnought, puncturing its outer hull and rupturing fuel tanks. The explosion lit the sky, blinding, beautiful, and terrifying. Admiral Vorsk stared in disbelief. How do they have this firepower? He growled. These weapons were hidden, buried, the tech officer said. We thought the surface was dead. You thought wrong, came a voice from every screen on the bridge. It was Rika, broadcasting directly into their systems. Her face clear, her voice calm. We were forgotten by your empires, abandoned by our own people, and left to rot in the dark, she said. But we grew, we learned, and now you've come to finish what you started. She leaned forward slightly. You came hunting monsters, Admiral. But you walked into their nest. The signal cut, and in its place the Predator flagship's AI screamed. As virus code, written in hybrid language, ripped through its systems like wildfire. Power dimmed, lights flickered, engines stuttered. The flagship, once the pride of the fleet, began to fall out of position, shields failed below. A single human warcraft, lightweight, fast, nearly invisible, rose from the mist of Eden Prime, piloted by Kai, one of Rika's best. Targeting engines, he said, non-lethal. He fired once. A pulse beam that struck the Predator cruiser's thrusters. It spiraled but did not explode, message received. This wasn't about wiping them out. Not yet. This was about humiliation. This was about sending a message. The Predator fleet scrambled to regroup, issuing commands that no longer connected, watching as their tech betrayed them, as their own systems refused orders. Back in Eden Prime's command chamber, Rika gave a final order. Stand down, weapons. Let them feel the silence, and so, the human colony, outgunned, outnumbered, forgotten, watched as the most feared fleet in the galaxy retreated slowly, quietly, in utter shame. They hadn't even seen the full force of humanity yet, not even close. The Predator fleet had begun to heal its pride. Fleets regrouped and systems patched. Admiral Vorsk burned with anger and shame. He would not leave Eden Prime with his honor broken. His commanders whispered of reprisals and of dragging Rika before the council. But Rika did not want slaughter. She wanted a lesson that would echo through the stars. In the tunnels beneath Eden Prime, plans unfolded with quiet confidence. Marek spread holographic maps across the table, his finger tracing enemy flight paths and blind spots. They trust power, he said simply. We will trust cunning. Engineers who once fixed broken water pumps now tuned alien cores like musical instruments. Their work precise and patient. The first part of the plan used what the Predators feared most: certainty. The humans fed false telemetry to the fleet, showing the surface clear and the colony weak. They broadcast a crippled signal from a small, battered craft, a human voice begging for rescue. It was the voice of a child recorded years ago. The Predators could not resist the lure of easy prey. A damaged human corvette, the Wraith, drifted on open scanners, smoke streaming from its engines, its transponder begging for help in the language of the galaxy. Predator fighters circled eagerly, planning boarding parties and trophies. Admiral Vorsk ordered a landing force, certain this would be the final humiliation. But the Wraith was only a shadow, filled with devices that looked old but were deadly new. Inside, swarms of nanodrones waited in sealed canisters. Microfilaments of memory steel coiled like sleeping snakes, and a small core unit hummed with stolen alien code. Marek watched the deployment from the command center, his face calm, his hands steady. When the Predator dropships hit the atmosphere, everything changed. The Wraith's distress beacon shifted frequency. A harmonized pulse rolled over the fleet. It triggered the nanoswarms to leap from their tubes and latch onto hull plating. These nanites worked like locksmiths and worms, slipping into seams, bypassing panels, and seeking control nodes at the same time. Orbital latticers, ancient railguns repurposed as web throwers, fired not to destroy, but to tangle. Thin, nearly invisible filaments stretched between two hidden asteroids, creating a net of gravity anchors. The Predator ships, distracted by boarding parties, sailed straight into the web. Engines pulled in wrong directions, navigation arrays strained, alarms screamed. On the flagship, Admiral Vorsk roared orders, but his console filled with false images. The nanites fed fake sensor data, showing phantom fleets and false starfields. His best officers argued and pointed. None could tell real from fake. His confidence faltered. Fear took root. From underground, Rika watched with the patience of someone who had waited a lifetime. Her voice to her people was small. We will not break them with fire, she said. We will break their belief that they know everything. Kai piloted a covert skimmer above the chaos, his eyes sharp, his hands never trembling. He watched the Predator boarding parties as they frantically tried to free their ships from the net. Then Marek initiated Phase 2. Encrypted pulses raced through the Predator comms. Old battle codes from the Predator's own history played back in distorted loops. The sound was not violence but memory. Their hunters heard the cries of lost kin and the echoes of failed hunts. Their minds, trained for conquest, loosened with confusion. Blackout swept the flagship like a storm. Lights died, and in the sudden dark, the micromechanics the humans had planted seized key systems. Hangar doors jammed open, shield relays locked, and the flagship began to spin slowly out of control. A perfect humiliation orchestrated by quiet hands. But the trap had another layer hidden even from Marek's maps. Deep within Eden Prime's ancient vaults lay a machine of a different kind. A relic from a century of scavenged tech. It did not destroy the Predator ships. It offered them a mirror. A recorded projection of their own arrogance. Holograms played across every bridge, showing scenes of past Predator hunts that ended in disaster. Commanders watched their own history of cruelty reflected back at them. Shame burned brighter than any laser. Admiral Vorsk felt his throat tighten, as images of his ancestors' betrayals flickered across the main view. Pride cracked, then splintered. His soldiers stared, A silence fell that was heavier than any explosion. The fleet no longer moved like a single organism. It dissolved into panic. And when an organism panics, it does not fight with grace, it fights with blind, brutal chaos. Still, Rika ordered restraint. "We show mercy," she told Kai quietly. "We take their systems, but not their lives today." Kai hesitated, remembering the fallen of Eden Prime. Yet he followed orders, his pulses non-lethal, disabling engines but not crewing life support. The Predators would live to carry the message, wounded and humbled, the flagship. The pride of the Predator fleet shuddered and then settled. Its bridge flooded with light as its systems came under Eden Prime control. Vorsk banged his claws on the deck, fury and humiliation mixing into a poison he had never tasted. He gave one final roar of defiance, and the humans replied with a broadcast that filled his speakers. "This is Eden Prime." Rika's voice rang clear across the captured channels. "You came to answer a call. You found a people you forgot. Learn this now. Do not mistake hunger for power. Do not mistake silence for weakness." The message spread to other ships like wildfire. Alien crews listened, slow understanding dawning like frost melting. Admiral Vorsk realized his fleet had been made a lesson, not a grave, and that realization made him more dangerous than ever. From the dark beyond Eden Prime's system, an unblinking sensor picked up a signal. Faint but unmistakable. Another fleet. Larger and coming fast. The message Rika sent had already gone farther than she knew. The galaxy was waking up to what Eden Prime had become. Beneath the command center, the people held their breath. Their victory tasted sweet and fearful at once. They had trapped the hunter, and now the hunter's kin might come with answers, with guns, with old debts. Rika did not smile, she only straightened. "We prepared for this," she said. But even she felt the weight of what might follow. The trap had worked, the Predator fleet was broken, yet the echo of their call moved outward like a stone thrown into a dark sea. The next wave would decide whether Eden Prime's lesson would change the galaxy, or whether it would ignite a war that no hidden city could survive. Humanity's true nature, the Predator fleet drifted in silence above Eden Prime, its command systems broken, its soldiers defeated not by force, but by strategy, confusion, and mercy. The galaxy had expected screams, explosions, and fire. Instead, it got quiet precision, and that silence became the loudest sound in space. Admiral Vorsk sat in his dimmed command chamber. Hands shaking, the humiliation burned deeper than any wound. His flagship, once feared across dozens of systems, now floated like a trophy in orbit. Not destroyed, but tamed. His soldiers avoided his eyes. They knew they had walked into a war of minds and lost before the first shot. Below, in the stone-lined command room of Eden Prime, Rika stared at the stars. She could feel it. The galaxy was listening. Even if it hadn't spoken yet, she had not just defeated a fleet. She had changed something deeper. Reports flowed in from long-range scanners. More signals moving in the distance. Quiet, cautious, watching. Merrick stepped beside her. "They're afraid of us," he said quietly. "But they don't understand why." Rika nodded. "Good," she replied. "Let them wonder." In the cities of Eden Prime, the people did not cheer, they worked. They rebuilt tunnels, repaired systems, wrote new code, taught their children what had happened and what still might come. There were no parades, only preparation. Kai walked through the lower sectors, passing farmers and welders and young scouts in training. They nodded at him, but no one treated him like a hero. Here everyone had played a part. No one stood above the rest. It was not glory that had won the battle. It was discipline, unity and silence. Far beyond Eden Prime, word spread faster than any ship could travel. Pirate stations whispered rumors of a human ghost fleet. Diplomats in polished towers reread old Earth records, searching for clues. Mercenaries refused Predator contracts, saying we don't hunt the ones who build from shadows. And on the edges of known space, entire species that once mocked humanity began to revise their assessments. The Galactic Council held an emergency session, seated in a dome of starlight and politics. They debated in fear, not rage. Ambassadors shouted, "How can a dead colony cripple the strongest fleet we have?" Others replied, "What else have they built in hiding?" No one had answers, only warnings. Back on Eden Prime, Rika received a transmission not from Earth, but from a listening post on the Helix Rim. The message was short, broken, but unmistakably human. "We heard you," it said, "and we're still alive. A dozen hidden colonies, long forgotten by Earth and its fractured alliances. We're awakening, Some had built weapons, others had built new governments, and now they saw Eden Prime not as an outlier but as a signal. Humanity was not scattered, it was evolving. Yet Rika felt no pride, only weight. She walked alone to the memorial hall carved deep into stone. Names of the first generation, the ones who built Eden Prime in silence, in cold and fear, were etched into the wall. She touched one name with her fingers. Her mother's. She remembered the stories. The hunger, the collapse, the anger at being abandoned by their own kind, and then the decision to stop waiting for rescue. Rika's voice echoed gently through the hall. "We never wanted this war," she said, "but we were made for it." Meanwhile, Admiral Vorsk transmitted a single message back to the council, a brief report with no embellishment. No excuses, just the facts and a warning. "Do not engage Eden Prime again," he wrote. "They have nothing left to prove." That message was archived, translated into 6 languages, and circulated in quiet rooms across the galaxy. It wasn't official policy, but every fleet commander received a whisper. Every bounty hunter saw it carved into the undernet. Every warlord memorized it. If you see the old signal, turn back. Because humanity's true nature had finally been revealed, not as conquerors, not as victims, but as survivors, thinkers, and if necessary, silent warriors. In a final meeting beneath the mountain, Rika spoke to her council. "We didn't win by being stronger," she said. "We won by being underestimated." She looked at every one of them. Worn from years of struggle, brave, quiet, ready. "The galaxy may come," she continued, "but now they will come with respect." A soft chime sounded across the room, another signal incoming. Not a threat, a request for contact. A small world on the outer rim wanted to join them. A colony believed lost in the Omega Drift. The legacy of Eden Prime had begun to spread, and far beyond even the Council's reach, another fleet, larger, older, not yet revealed, watched the signal's path across the stars, not afraid, but curious in curiosity. When it came to humans, had always been dangerous. The galaxy watches far beyond Eden Prime, in the halls of ancient stations and golden palaces. The galaxy watched. The Predator fleet had returned in shame. Broken systems, lost ships, and worst of all, no victory, no trophies, only silence. The transmission from Eden Prime spread faster than any ship could fly. Copies were sent through black markets, encoded into star charts, whispered through smugglers and diplomats alike. The message was simple yet heavy like iron. "Do not mistake silence for weakness. On Earth," the Council listened in stunned disbelief. Eden Prime was supposed to be lost, gone for over 100 years. Yet here they were, alive, powerful, and sending ripples through every major civilization. Some wanted to reach out, others feared to, but one thing was clear. Humanity was no longer seen as a scattered species of farmers and scientists. They were something new, something dangerous, something unknown. In the dark corners of space, bounty guilds tore down old posters that mocked humans. Criminal factions changed trade routes to avoid human sectors, and empires that once laughed at Earth now assigned entire task forces just to observe and report. On Eden Prime, the people continued as they always had, quietly. Without celebration, they planted new crops, repaired broken panels, and trained their children not for glory, but for survival. Rika stood above the valley bunker. Eyes fixed on the stars, the council met in silence. Marek laid down reports of unknown fleets moving closer to the outer rim. Kai submitted flight logs showing strange formations outside the known patrol lanes. Something was coming, and it wasn't just whispers. Juno entered the room last, holding a fragment of old data. Encrypted code from a dead satellite caught drifting near their defense grid. She placed it on the table. The screen flickered, and the room dimmed as the message began to play. It wasn't from the Predator fleet, it wasn't from Earth, it wasn't from any known language. The voice was low, echoing, metallic. Signal identified. Eden Prime. Subject class, human anomaly. Status, reassessment required. The screen turned black, and the words burned into the air like a scar. Observation fleet en route. No one spoke for a long time. Then Rika whispered, "They are not coming for war." She paused. "They are coming for answers. And sometimes answers are more dangerous than weapons." Marek tapped the table twice. The holographic map widened, showing sectors of the galaxy never marked on official records. Dark zones, ancient battlefields, dead stars. "They know we exist now," he said. "So they will test us, but Eden Prime would not hide again. Kai led new scout wings beyond their old defense lines. Drones expanded the shield grid. Teachers rewrote the school books to include the story of the signal. And children grew up learning not just to survive, but to lead. In a small, quiet chamber beneath the mountain, Rika recorded a final message. Not for Earth, not for allies, but for whoever came next. Her voice was steady. To the one who finds this, know that we are not here to conquer, but we are also not here to kneel.